I woke up on Christmas morning to a text message that would change everything. Mom, we're canceling lunch. We don't have time for you today. We're eating at my mother-in-law's instead. It was 6 in the morning. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, phone still glowing in my hand. No sadness hit me right away, just emptiness. A hollow feeling that seemed to expand in my chest until it filled the entire room. By 8 o'clock, I got up and started packing my suitcases. At 10, a taxi pulled up to my driveway, and nobody could have imagined where I was headed. But before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something for me. Leave a comment below and tell me where you're watching this from. Because what I'm about to share with you is a story about family, betrayal, and the moment I realized that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who see you as nothing more than a bank account with a heartbeat. My name is Margaret Holloway. I'm 61 years old, and I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, in a home I built from the ground up, literally and figuratively. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because it matters to this story. I came from nothing. My parents were factory workers in Ohio who taught me that if you want something in this life, you work for it. So I did. I put myself through business school, waiting tables and cleaning offices at night. I started my first company when I was 28, a medical supply distribution business that I grew over 3 decades into a multi-million-dollar operation. I sold it 5 years ago and retired with more money than I ever dreamed of having. I was married once to a man named Robert. He passed away from a sudden cardiac incident 12 years ago. We had 1 child together, a son named Daniel. Danny, I used to call him when he was little. He was my world after Robert died, my only family. I poured everything into making sure he had opportunities I never did. Private schools, college fully paid for, a trust fund, a down payment on his first house. I wasn't trying to spoil him. I was trying to give him a foundation, a head start, the kind of security I had to build for myself with bloody knuckles and sleepless nights. Danny married a woman named Vanessa 4 years ago. I'll be honest, I had reservations from the start, not because she wasn't smart or attractive. She was both. But there was something about the way she looked at things, at my things, the way her eyes would linger on my jewelry when she thought I wasn't watching, the way she'd casually ask about property values in my neighborhood or mention how lucky Danny was to have a mother with resources. But I pushed those thoughts away. I told myself I was being paranoid, overprotective, the stereotype of the overbearing mother-in-law who can't let go. The first year of their marriage was fine, normal. We'd have Sunday dinners at my place, and Vanessa would smile and laugh and call me Mom, which felt a little forced but sweet enough. Danny seemed happy, and that was all that mattered to me. But then things started to shift. Subtle at first, they'd cancel plans more often. Danny's calls became shorter, more distracted. When I'd ask about their lives, I'd get vague answers. Work is busy. We're just tired. You know how it is. I didn't know how it was, actually, because I'd raised Danny to value family above everything else. But I gave them space. I told myself that newlyweds need time to build their own life together. I didn't want to be that mother who couldn't respect boundaries. So I stepped back. I waited for them to reach out, and they did. But always when they needed something. A loan for a business opportunity that never seemed to materialize. Help with a car payment because Vanessa's hours had been cut at work. Each time I said yes. Each time I told myself this was what family did for each other. Then, about 6 months ago, things escalated. Danny started asking more pointed questions about my finances. How much was the house worth? What kind of retirement accounts did I have? Had I updated my will recently? He framed it as concern. Mom, you're getting older. We just want to make sure everything is in order. You know, in case something happens. I should have seen the red flags waving right in front of my face. But when it's your own child, you want to believe the best. You want to think they're asking because they care, not because they're calculating. In October, Vanessa mentioned that her mother was having health issues and they might need to move closer to help her. This struck me as odd because I'd heard Vanessa complain about her mother plenty of times before, how controlling she was, how they barely spoke. But suddenly she was devoted Daughter of the Year? Still, I nodded along. I offered to help if they needed anything. Vanessa smiled that tight smile of hers and said, "Actually, we might take you up on that." The week before Thanksgiving, Danny called and asked if I'd consider adding Vanessa's name to one of my investment accounts. "Just as a precaution," he said. "So if anything happens to you, we can handle things quickly without waiting for probate." I felt a chill run down my spine. I'm 61, not 91. I'm in excellent health. I run 4 miles every morning and do yoga 3 times a week. There was no logical reason I should be planning for imminent incapacity. I told Danny I'd think about it, and I heard the frustration in his voice when he said goodbye. Thanksgiving came and went. They showed up for dinner, but the whole meal felt strained. Vanessa barely touched her food. Danny kept checking his phone. When I asked what was wrong, they both insisted everything was fine, just stressed about work. They left early, claiming they had another engagement. I stood in my kitchen that night, surrounded by leftovers meant to feed 6 people, and felt more alone than I had since Robert died. That's when I started paying closer attention. Not because I wanted to catch them doing anything wrong, but because something in my gut told me I needed to protect myself. I'd built a business on instinct and analysis, and those skills don't just disappear when you retire. So, I started looking at my accounts more carefully, reviewing statements, tracking patterns, and that's when I noticed something disturbing. There had been 3 attempts to access my primary bank account from an IP address I didn't recognize. The bank had flagged them and blocked the access, but they'd happened over the course of 2 weeks in November. Someone had my account number and was trying to get in. I called the bank immediately, and they confirmed that the attempts had come from a location in Phoenix, about 30 minutes from where Danny and Vanessa lived. They changed all my passwords and security questions, but the damage to my peace of mind was done. I didn't confront Danny right away. I needed to know more, so I did something I'm not entirely proud of, but I don't regret it either. I hired a private investigator. His name was Marcus Chen, and he came highly recommended by my attorney. I told him everything, the strange questions, the financial access attempts, the sudden interest in my will and assets. He listened without judgment and told me he'd look into it discreetly. Marcus worked fast. Within a week, he came back with information that made my blood run cold. He'd found evidence that Vanessa had been researching my financial situation extensively. Public records, property values, business sale documents that were part of the public domain. But it went deeper than that. She'd also been in contact with someone who claimed to be an estate planning specialist, but was actually known for helping people contest wills and manipulate inheritance situations. Marcus had screenshots of emails. Vanessa had been asking about the legality of challenging trusts, about what constitutes mental incompetence in Arizona, about how to expedite probate processes. I sat in my living room reading through the report, and I felt physically sick. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't a misunderstanding. My son's wife was actively planning for my diminishment, my incapacity, or worse, and by extension, so was he. Because there's no way she was doing all of this without his knowledge. They were a team working against me. I asked Marcus to keep digging. I needed to know the full scope of what I was dealing with. He agreed and told me to act normal, to not tip them off that I knew anything. So I did. I smiled when Danny called. I made polite conversation. I agreed to meet them for coffee in early December, where Vanessa casually mentioned again how I should really get my affairs in order and suggested a lawyer she knew who specialized in elder care planning. I was 61, not 81. The term elder care felt like a calculated insult. By mid-December, Marcus had compiled a comprehensive dossier. He'd found chat logs between Danny and Vanessa where they discussed timelines, how long they thought they'd have to wait, whether there were ways to speed things up. That phrase haunted me. Speed what up? my decline, my exit from their lives. They talked about my assets like they were unclaimed lottery winnings just sitting there, waiting to be collected. In one particularly chilling exchange, Vanessa wrote, "She's too healthy. She could live another 30 years at this rate. We need a different approach." I didn't sleep much after reading that. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the shadows on my ceiling, wondering what different approach meant. Were they planning to have me declared mentally incompetent? Were they going to pressure me into signing things? The uncertainty was torture, but I couldn't let them see me rattled. I had to be strategic. I spent the week before Christmas putting pieces in place. I met with my attorney, Gerald Fisher, who'd handled my business sale and estate planning. I showed him everything Marcus had found. Gerald's face went from professional interest to genuine alarm as he read through the documents. He immediately advised me to revoke any power of attorney documents I might have signed, to change all my passwords again, and to consider moving assets into a more secure trust structure that couldn't be easily challenged or accessed. We spent 3 hours in his office, restructuring my entire estate plan to protect it from internal threats. I also met with Detective Sarah Ramirez from the Scottsdale Police Department. I wasn't sure if what Danny and Vanessa were doing was technically illegal yet, but I wanted law enforcement aware of the situation. Sarah took my statement seriously. She explained that while planning to inherit wasn't a crime, attempting to access my accounts without permission was. The bank had records of those attempts. If we could link them definitively to Danny or Vanessa, there could be charges. She opened a case file and told me to document everything going forward. Then came Christmas Eve. Danny called me around noon and asked what time I wanted them to come over for lunch the next day. I'd been hosting Christmas dinner for years. It was our tradition. I told him 1 o'clock, and he said they'd be there. His voice sounded normal, warm even, like the son I remembered from before Vanessa. For a moment, I let myself hope that maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe we could talk this through like adults. That hope died at 6 o'clock on Christmas morning when my phone lit up with his text message. "Mom, we're canceling lunch. We don't have time for you today. We're eating at my mother-in-law's instead." No apology, no explanation beyond the obvious lie about Vanessa's mother, who I knew for a fact was perfectly fine and lived 3 states away. Just a cold dismissal, like I was a restaurant reservation they could cancel without consequence. I read that message 5 times, looking for something I'd missed, some hint of affection or regret. There was nothing. I set the phone down on my nightstand and stared up at the ceiling as the early morning light started creeping through my curtains. The house was silent. No music, no laughter, no sound of family coming together to celebrate. Just me and the echoing emptiness of a home that suddenly felt like a mausoleum. But here's the thing about being dismissed like you're nothing. It clarifies things. All the doubt, all the second guessing, all the maternal instinct telling me to excuse their behavior, it evaporated. I saw the situation with perfect, cold clarity. My son and his wife weren't just being thoughtless or selfish. They were actively trying to erase me from my own life while positioning themselves to claim everything I'd built. And that text message? That was them getting sloppy, getting confident, showing me exactly how little I mattered to them. I got out of bed at 8 o'clock. I showered, dressed in comfortable travel clothes, and started packing. Not a small bag for a weekend trip. 2 large suitcases. I packed methodically, choosing items carefully. Comfortable clothes, important documents I kept in my home safe, jewelry that had sentimental value, my laptop and external hard drives. I moved through the house like I was preparing for an evacuation, because in a way I was. I was evacuating my own life. At 9:30, I called the taxi company I always used. I told them I needed a pickup at 10 for a ride to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. The dispatcher recognized my voice and confirmed the booking. Then I sat down at my kitchen table and wrote 2 letters. The first was to Danny. I kept it short. "I received your message. I understand where I stand in your priorities now. I hope whatever you and Vanessa are planning brings you the happiness you're searching for." But you won't find it in my accounts, my assets, or my estate. Everything has been restructured and secured. Consider this your only warning. If there are any further attempts to access my finances or interfere with my affairs, I will pursue every legal remedy available. Mom. I left it propped against the coffee maker where I knew he'd see it if he ever bothered to come by. The second letter was to Gerald Fisher. I gave him permission to take whatever legal action necessary if anything happened to me, or if there were any suspicious activities around my estate. I also included Marcus Chen's full investigative report and asked Gerald to keep it in a secure location. I sealed it, addressed it, and put it in my purse to mail from the airport. At exactly 10 o'clock, I heard the taxi pull into my driveway. I took one last look around the house I'd lived in for 15 years. The house I'd filled with memories of Danny's childhood, of holidays, of hope for the future. Then I locked the door behind me, loaded my suitcases into the trunk, and climbed into the back seat. The driver, a kind older man named George who'd driven me several times before, asked where I was headed. I told him the airport. He asked if I was going somewhere nice for the holidays. I looked out the window at the palm trees and expensive homes of my neighborhood sliding past and said, "I'm going somewhere, I'll be valued." He didn't ask any more questions after that. The flight I'd booked was to New York City. I had friends there from my business days, people who'd been asking me to visit for years, people who actually wanted my company, not my bank account. I checked my bags, went through security, and sat at the gate watching families reunite and couples embrace. It was Christmas morning at an airport, which meant it was full of people going to or coming from the people they loved. I was doing both, leaving the people I loved and going toward people who loved me back. As I sat there, my phone started buzzing. Danny calling, then Vanessa, then Danny again. I let every call go to voicemail. After the fifth call, I listened to the messages. The first one was Danny, sounding confused. "Mom, where are you? I stopped by the house and you're not there. Your car's in the garage, but you're gone. Call me back." The second was Vanessa, and her tone was different, sharp, worried. "Margaret, we need to know where you are. This isn't funny. Danny is very concerned." The third was Danny again, and now he sounded angry. "Mom, this is ridiculous. You can't just disappear. We need to talk." I texted back once, just to let them know I was alive, because despite everything, I didn't want him to genuinely worry. "I'm fine. I'm taking a trip. Don't contact me again unless it's an emergency. And no, your plans for my assets don't constitute an emergency." Then I turned off my phone. I spent Christmas Day in first class, drinking champagne and eating surprisingly good airline food. The flight attendant, a woman about my age named Patricia, noticed I was traveling alone and asked if I was okay. I told her I was better than okay. I was free. She smiled and brought me an extra dessert. When we landed at JFK, my friend Caroline was waiting for me at arrivals with a huge hug and a bottle of wine. She didn't ask questions. She just took my bags and drove me to her brownstone in Brooklyn, where she'd prepared a guest room and a home-cooked meal. I stayed in New York for 2 weeks. Caroline and her husband, David, treated me like royalty. We went to shows. We ate at incredible restaurants. We walked through Central Park in the snow, and slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Not someone's mother, not someone's target, just Margaret. A woman who'd worked hard, built something meaningful, and deserved to enjoy the fruits of her labor without looking over her shoulder. While I was gone, things escalated back in Arizona. Danny apparently went to the police and tried to file a missing person report. But since I'd texted him and I was a grown woman who could go wherever I wanted, they wouldn't take the report. Then he tried to access my house using a key I'd given him years ago, but I'd had the locks changed before I left. Gerald Fisher, acting on my instructions, sent Danny and Vanessa a formal cease and desist letter warning them that any further attempts to access my property or accounts would result in legal action. That's when Vanessa made her biggest mistake. She called my bank, claiming to be me, and tried to get information about my accounts. The bank, which I'd already alerted to potential fraud attempts, recorded the call and immediately contacted Detective Ramirez. Voice analysis confirmed it was Vanessa. That wasn't identity theft in the traditional sense, but it was fraud. It was attempt to access financial information through impersonation, and it was a crime. I flew back to Arizona in mid-January, not because I missed it, but because Detective Ramirez called and told me I needed to come back to give a formal statement and potentially press charges. I met with her at the police station, and she laid out everything they'd discovered. The bank access attempts were traceable to Danny's IP address. The phone call was definitely Vanessa. They had enough evidence to bring charges for attempted fraud and identity theft. I sat in that interview room, looking at the evidence spread across the table, and I had to make a decision. Did I want to prosecute my own son and his wife? Did I want to put them through the criminal justice system? Part of me still loved Danny. Still remembered the little boy who'd hold my hand crossing the street and tell me I was the best mom in the world. But that little boy was gone. The man he'd become was someone I didn't recognize, someone who saw me as an obstacle rather than a person. I told Detective Ramirez to move forward with the charges. She nodded, unsurprised, and told me what to expect. There would be arrests. There would be a court process. It wouldn't be pleasant, but it would be thorough. I thanked her and left the station feeling both heavy and light at the same time. Heavy with the grief of losing my son. Light with the knowledge that I was finally protecting myself. The arrests happened on a Tuesday morning. Danny and Vanessa were taken into custody at their home. The charges were attempted fraud, identity theft, and conspiracy to commit financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. That last charge stung, even though I knew I wasn't actually vulnerable. But legally, because of my age and their familial relationship, the prosecutors could apply those statutes. It meant the charges carried heavier penalties. They were released on bail within 24 hours. Danny called me from jail, crying, begging me to drop the charges. He said it was all a misunderstanding, that Vanessa had acted without his knowledge, that he loved me and would never hurt me. I listened to him sob and felt absolutely nothing. No sympathy, no maternal urge to fix things, just a cold, clear understanding that he was lying. The evidence didn't lie. The chat logs didn't lie. His actions didn't lie. Only his words did. I told him I'd see him in court and hung up. He tried calling back 17 times that day. I blocked his number. Vanessa's too. I blocked them on email, on social media, on every platform where they might reach me. I erected a wall between us that was made of legal documents and court orders and the simple truth that they'd burned a bridge I had no interest in rebuilding. The case took 4 months to wind through the system. Their attorney tried to negotiate a plea deal, but the prosecutors weren't interested. The evidence was too strong, and there was concern that if Danny and Vanessa got away with what they'd done to me, they might target someone else. Elderly financial abuse is an epidemic, and the district attorney's office wanted to send a message. The trial lasted 3 days. I had to testify. I had to sit on that witness stand and describe in detail how my own son had tried to steal from me, how his wife had impersonated me, how they'd planned and schemed and calculated the value of my life in dollar signs. The defense attorney tried to paint me as paranoid and vindictive, tried to suggest that I'd misinterpreted innocent questions and normal family dynamics. But Marcus Chen testified. Detective Ramirez testified. The bank's fraud department testified. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Danny's face when the verdict was read is something I'll never forget. He looked at me across the courtroom with an expression I couldn't quite read. Anger? Disbelief? Betrayal? Maybe all three, Vanessa cried, loud, theatrical sobs that felt as false as everything else about her. The judge ordered a pre-sentencing investigation and set a date for sentencing 6 weeks out. During those 6 weeks, I received letters. Lots of letters. From Danny, mostly. Long, rambling letters where he alternated between apologizing and blaming me. Saying he was sorry, but also that I'd driven him to this. that I'd been controlling, that I'd held money over his head his whole life. I read each one carefully, looking for genuine remorse, and found none, just self-pity and justification. I saved them all, added them to the file Gerald was keeping. They only proved what the prosecution had argued, that Danny and Vanessa felt entitled to my assets and angry that I wouldn't simply hand them over. Sentencing day arrived in late May. The courtroom was packed. Apparently, the case had gotten media attention. Son and wife, convicted of plotting against wealthy mother, was how one newspaper headline read. It felt surreal to see my private nightmare turned into public spectacle. But I sat in the front row, dressed in a simple gray suit, and watched as justice was served. The judge was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s named Judge Patricia Thornton. She'd clearly read everything in the case file and then some. She gave a 10-minute statement before announcing the sentences, and I'll never forget part of what she said. This court sees many cases of financial exploitation. Too often, the victims are elderly individuals who lack the resources or capacity to defend themselves. Mrs. Holloway is not that victim. She is a highly intelligent, successful businesswoman who had the means and awareness to protect herself. But that doesn't make what the defendants did any less reprehensible. In fact, it makes it worse. They didn't target a stranger. They targeted family. They exploited a bond that should be sacred. And they did so with calculation and premeditation. This court will not tolerate such behavior. Danny received 3 years in state prison. Vanessa received 4 as the primary instigator. They were also ordered to pay restitution for my legal fees and investigative costs, though I knew I'd likely never see that money. Prison time was the real punishment, the real consequence, the real message that what they'd done had weight and meaning and wouldn't be tolerated by society or law. As they were led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Danny looked back at me one last time. Our eyes met. I don't know what he was hoping to see. Forgiveness? Regret? Maternal love? He didn't get any of it. I just looked at him calmly, the way you'd look at a stranger, and then I turned away. I walked out of that courthouse with Gerald at my side and felt the sun on my face for what seemed like the first time in months. The aftermath was complicated. The media attention meant my private life became uncomfortably public for a while. I gave one interview to a local news station because they promised to focus on elder financial abuse awareness rather than salacious family drama. I used that platform to talk about warning signs, about how predators often come from within families, about the importance of protecting your assets legally and being willing to take action when something feels wrong, even if it means confronting people you love. I also started volunteering with an organization that helps seniors protect themselves from financial exploitation. I share my story at workshops and seminars. I help people understand that having money doesn't make you immune to this kind of targeting. Sometimes it makes you a bigger target. I teach them about estate planning, about secure document management, about recognizing manipulation tactics. It's become a strange kind of purpose that emerged from pain. As for Danny and Vanessa, they're both serving their sentences at separate facilities. Danny has written me a few times from prison. The letters have changed. They're shorter now, less defensive. There's a different quality to his apologies, something that might actually be genuine remorse rather than self-pity. I read them, but I don't respond. I'm not sure I ever will. Some people say that's cruel, that he's my son and I should forgive him. Those people don't understand that forgiveness isn't something you owe someone just because you share DNA. It's something that has to be earned through genuine change and amends, and I'm not convinced he's capable of either. Vanessa, on the other hand, has sent me nothing but legal threats through her attorney. She's trying to appeal the conviction, claiming ineffective counsel and prosecutorial misconduct. It won't work. The case was solid. But it tells me everything I need to know about where her head is at. She's not sorry. She's just sorry she got caught. I still live in Scottsdale, in the same house. Some people thought I'd want to move, to start fresh somewhere else. But this is my home. I built it. I earned it. I'm not going to let what happened chase me away from it. I did make some changes, though. I have a state-of-the-art security system now. I've made new friends through volunteer work and social groups. I've created a life that doesn't revolve around waiting for family to call or visit. I'm busy. I'm engaged. I'm happy in a way I haven't been in years. Here's what I've learned from all of this, and what I want you to take away if you're listening to my story. Family is supposed to be the people who love you unconditionally, who support you, who celebrate your successes rather than covet them. But sometimes, family is just a biological accident. Sometimes the people who share your blood are the ones who see you as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. And when that happens, you have to make a choice. You can pretend everything is fine. You can excuse the behavior. You can sacrifice your security and well-being on the altar of keeping the family together. Or you can protect yourself. You can enforce boundaries. You can walk away. I chose to walk away, not just physically, by getting on that plane Christmas morning, but emotionally and legally. I cut ties with people who'd proven they valued my money more than my life. And I don't regret it. Not for a second. Does it hurt? Yes. I still have moments where I miss the son I thought I had, where I wonder what I could have done differently. But those moments pass, and what remains is the clear knowledge that I did the right thing. I protected myself. I enforced consequences. I refused to be a victim. If you're watching this and you're in a similar situation, if you have family members who are suddenly very interested in your finances, who are asking invasive questions, who are making you feel uncomfortable or pressured, trust your instincts. Document everything. Get legal help. Don't wait until something terrible happens to take action. And don't feel guilty for protecting yourself, even if it means going against family. You earned what you have. You deserve to keep it and to live your life on your own terms. That Christmas morning text message was the best gift Danny ever gave me, though he didn't know it at the time. It was the final piece of evidence I needed to see him clearly, to stop making excuses, to stop hoping he'd change. It freed me from obligation and guilt and all the complicated emotions that come with trying to maintain a relationship with someone who's actively working against you. I woke up that morning to a message of dismissal and rejection. I got on a plane and flew toward a life where I matter, where I'm valued, where I'm safe. And honestly, that's the best Christmas present I could have given myself.